Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of day this video finds you. It's your boy Jay here, and we're not playing Monster Hunter today, which is very unusual. As you can see, we got Triangle Strategy loaded up. Okay, so I know many of you own a Nintendo Switch, right? Because we're all talking about Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak and GU. So I know a lot of y'all have Switches, and I want to talk to you guys about this title, Triangle Strategy, that I could wholeheartedly recommend that you guys pick up and try for yourselves. This is one of the best tactical RPGs I've ever touched. I mean, if you've ever even thought about playing a strategy RPG, then you owe it to yourself to pick up this title and give it a fair shot. I mean, if you like games like maybe Fire Emblem Three Houses, Final Fantasy Tactics, Advance Wars, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, this is a game you have got to try. Okay, I love me some triangle strategy, excuse me, and I'm here to tell you what's so great about this game and why I love it so much. And yeah, so we're gonna be talking about certain aspects of the game and why I love it so much and why I feel the need to recommend and shout from the mountaintops at how good this game is. So yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so what you're watching right now is the opening cinematic cutscene, okay? And all this video will contain is footage from the very first battle, so no real spoiler warnings here. In the beginning, they lay down the foundation for the game and what it's about and who you're gonna be, talking with and what the lands are laid out like and all this stuff. So really, don't worry about spoilers. But yeah, this is laying the foundations for the story, and the story, by the way, is incredible. Okay, so there are many different branching pathways to the story. I like to think of the story as a giant tree, right? So the gameplay featured today will be the big trunk of the tree. Now, as the game progresses, they ask you to make certain decisions, and that's kind of like choosing on going, on a specific limb on this giant tree. And then there will be more decisions later on, which will have you branch out to different sections of the end of the tree, so to speak. You know what I mean? So by the time you get to the end, there's a plethora of endings. I just know that there are. For example, my first ending, not to spoil it too much, I'm going to be purposefully vague. I ended racism. I was presented with the opportunity to end racism, and as a dude of color, I was like, hold up, yeah, let's do that. Let's end racism, and it happened. I won't give you the details as to who the race is and what happened to the characters, but it was a very satisfying ending, albeit bittersweet. But yeah. The story is incredible, and there's so many branching pathways, so that leads to repeat playthroughs of this game. My first playthrough took me about 50 hours, and hence that's why we're doing the first mission in the first, beginning part of the game all over again. I've got my New Game Plus loaded up. And New Game Plus in this game is excellent. They kind of pull back the magician's curtain on certain mechanics of the game. That way your first playthrough is very genuine and authentic, because you just make decisions that appeal to you, as opposed to knowing some of the back end systems of the game, where if you choose this, you get a certain amount of points in this or that. So it's really incredible. And it lets you kind of take charge of the reins of the story. Have you ever played a game where you're like, this game is really good, I like the gameplay, but the story is kind of meh, it doesn't really appeal to me? That is not gonna happen here, because you are the one who makes the choices, and you are the one who influences the direction in which the story goes. And let me tell you, some of the story choices were very difficult. If you go back to the video and look at the loading screen, when I loaded in my file, you can see many different save points, because when I was presented with the choice, I was like, oh bro, I'm gonna save a bunch of times and maybe come back to this point. I didn't end up going back. I just chose to, live with the decisions that I made, much like real life. You make a decision in real life, you gotta live with it, you feel me? So I just chose to live with it. And I'm pretty happy I did that. And instead of making the choice, seeing the result and being like, oh no, I don't like it, and reloading, nah, I was pretty authentic with it and played it straight through, mistakes and all, if you will. So yeah, the story is incredible. New Game Plus is incredible. So the repeat play is there. I mean, there's many different endings. And like I said, my first playthrough took me 50 hours. And now I'm going through the hard mode playthrough. I've played a couple missions and they're still just as challenging as they were before. So This game could easily have 3, 4, 500 hours of content. I can say that pretty confidently. Yeah, this game probably has 3, 4, 500 hours worth of content if you truly want to explore it and, you know, do everything there is to do in this game. While the story of the game is incredible, there is one little downside to the story. Because the game is like so deep. I mean, think of it like you're playing Game of Thrones, so to speak, right? There's different kingdoms and different characters have different motivations and they're all doing things. The game can get quite wordy, a bit verbose, if you will. But every single line of dialogue is voiced in both Japanese and English, so you can pick an option that, you know, suits you. And if it's almost like watching a TV show sometimes. I mean, you're looking at one of the first cutscenes in the game. If you set it to English or a language that you could speak, you can kind of have this running in the background like a TV show while maybe you do something else, like, I don't know, fold some laundry or, you know, wash some dishes. You know, it's a Switch. You can have it portable and you can have your Bluetooth headphones up to it and listen to the dialogue and watch the scene play out, because there is an autoplay option. You can just click the button, the characters will talk and do their thing while you, I mean, I'm a grown man, you could tell, you know what I'm saying, I got chores to do around the house. So you can just listen to the cutscene while you do your chores. That's the only, like, one of the big downsides about this game is that they can talk a whole lot. But do make sure you pay attention, because some of the dialogues and stuff that come up reveal information about the characters, and then when a decision is to be made later, it's very important that you pay attention and you know what choice you want to make based on the information that was given to you. That's about all I want to say about the story. Just know that the story is incredible and very satisfying, even though it can take a while to get through some of the cutscenes. Speaking of cutscenes, now that we're at this cutscene of these characters at the harbor, I want to talk about the art style a little bit, okay? So this title is part of the HD 2D stuff that Square Enix has been doing as of late. Titles like Octopath Traveler, titles like Octopath Traveler, this game, and then upcoming we have Live Alive, and then I think a Dragon Quest III remake will also be remade in this style. And the reason why I wanted to wait for this harbor scene is so that you guys can look at the water. The water looks incredible in this game. I mean, this game in general looks incredible. This game looks like how you remember your PS1 titles looking, okay? I know y'all see them boys on Twitter anytime a new Switch game comes out or is shown or revealed. They're like, oh, this game looks like a PS1 title or a PS2 title. No, bro. That's your rose-tinted glasses talking, bro. PS2 and PS1 did not look this pretty, okay? And some of the effects that happen and go on during combat look incredible. Like, that's not something a PS1 or a PS2 or a 64 or maybe even a GameCube can render properly, right? That being said, the game does run at 30 frames per second. It would be nice for it to run at 60, but it being a strategy RPG, it's not really all that needed. It's not like we're trying to play Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or something. But sometimes when the effects get a little crazy, the Switch can kind of chug through it a little bit, right? So for the most part, it's running at 30. And you know, you could skip through the scenes. There is a fast forward button so that, you know, as you're waiting for turns to play out, you can skip through it. But do know that there will be some frame dips here and there that don't really affect the gameplay all that much due to the nature of the game, right? It's a strategy RPG. You play your turn out, you move your character, you choose what you want it to do, and then you kind of watch an optional effect, you know what I mean? Some characters cast really big spells. Some characters do some really over-the-top attacks that look incredible should you choose to watch them. And it just comes off just stunning, man. It does indeed remind you of the PS1, PS2 era tactic games, but it looks way better. I mean, there's just no way a PlayStation 1 or a PlayStation 2 can pull off the particle effects and have them look as crisp as they come off here on the Nintendo Switch. That being said, this game does look a little bit better handheld. The smaller screen does really benefit the presentation of this game a whole lot, as opposed to blown up on a monitor. You could kind of see you know, the lines and the jaggies a little bit. But like I said, game looks good. The lighting, I mean, look at the way the light kind of reflects off of the water here in this scene. Looks good. I mean, you got the clouds that kind of pass overhead, and yeah, so it just looks incredible. I like the look of the game, right? So yeah, that's enough about talking about the graphics of the game. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of the game: combat. All right, so let's dive into the combat. The first thing I want to tackle when talking about the combat is the job system. Okay, now I'm saying that with quotes. It's the job system because this game has a whole lot of characters in it, right? And the characters that you have access to are also based on the decisions that you make as the story goes on. So yeah, so many characters in this game, and the job system, each character is kind of locked into their job. Does that make sense? So it's not like Final Fantasy Tactics where you can change a black mage to a white mage, or a white mage to a red mage, and hell, if you're feeling crazy, you could change a white mage to a swordsman if you want. Like, no, that's not that. Once you unlock a character, let's say that character does fire magic, that character will always do fire magic. But you can upgrade the character's main weapon, which does not change, but like they will always have the staff, but you can upgrade the staff, which gives them access to more abilities as you level up. And you know, it lets you change their stats around in the encampment, which is kind of the hub of the game. It lets you spend materials that you pick up as you're fighting on the battlefield, and you spend those materials on your characters to upgrade them and make them more potent in their path, right? So your swordsman character is always going to be a swordsman. You can make his sword stronger, and you can give him more swordsman abilities, but you can't take your swordsman and turn him into a mage and then turn him back into a swordsman and have him use his mage abilities as a swordsman. That's just not how this game works. But I still really like this job system because it's very simple and it's very easy to follow, right? Your sword guy is always going to be your sword guy. Do you have the materials to unlock this ability? Yes? No? Do it. You know what I mean? It's that simple. It's not overly complicated. You're not going to get lost in the menu systems of this game. Everything is laid out really easy for you to see and digest, and everything is told to you very plainly, and there's no like super secret hidden mechanics like, ooh, this is the super meta thing to do. You can be successful using any assortment of characters that are available to you during XYZ missions, right? So before an actual battle starts, you get to choose which characters go where in certain spots, very similar to, like, you know, Final Fantasy Tactics. In the beginning, you have a couple squares where you can lay out characters. You can put who you want wherever before the battle starts, and then boom, you could go, right? So once you set out on a battle, it's turn-based, everything's on a grid. You know, mages can cast spells, swordsmen, you know, they walk up, they strike down. Some people have certain abilities that are ranged, blah blah blah. You know, the archers are there. All of the regular tropey stuff is there. And the thing about combat in this game is it's quite difficult. I did play it on normal difficulty, and let me tell you, I was getting peaked up, you know, here and there. But the cool thing about this game is if you lose a battle, right, you have the option to hit surrender, right? Or, you know, if you lose, you can hit retry, but your characters keep all of the experience that they gained during the battle. So you could keep retrying the same battle over and over and over again and get stronger and stronger and stronger as you do it. So yeah, there's that option. It's not like, you know, you've been fighting this one battle for a whole hour or whatever, and then you make one bad choice and you lose a very important guy, and then suddenly the battle, you know, it goes sideways and you lose. You don't lose all that progress. You get to keep all of the experience points that you made throughout that battle and reset it with now your higher level characters, so to speak. Does that make sense? So you can keep running back the battle over and over and over and over again until you get strong enough to blast your way through, right? And then another thing I do want to bring up about a lot of the story missions is as you go through, the enemy seems to always have reinforcements show up. Okay, do be ready for that. So what I would often do when I made it to a new story mission, I would play the mission out, right? I would play it knowing that I was not going to win on the first try. Like, it is what it is, because when those reinforcements show up, they mess up your whole game plan. You feel me? Like, you got a game plan, you're looking at it, you're like, all right, bet I'm gonna do this, and then the reinforcements show up and you're like, well, I didn't account for those 3 guys that are there now. And then you get, you know, you get your head bust in But you restart the battle, you click surrender, you get to keep all the experience points you gain through the battle and try again with the foresight that those guys are going to show up. You know what I mean? So there's that. But this game is so fun to play that I really did not mind running some of the same missions twice, right? Something that is very unique to this title is the way you can like chain attacks together, so to speak, right? So if you put one of your guys on one side of a guy and then another unit behind it, right? So you'll make kind of like an Oreo cookie, right? Say the cream is the enemy and then your guys are the cookie on the top and on the bottom. When you strike that the cream, so to speak, the guy in the middle, the guy on the other side will also strike, right? So you get kind of like a double strike sort of thing going on, and the enemy can also do that to you. So positioning is very, very important in this game because you don't want to end up with your guy being the Oreo cream in the middle of two enemies just getting dogpiled on, you know what I mean? And because it's grid based, that can happen to you twice, so to speak, because you can have guys on the forward and the back of you and on the left and the right of you. Bad situation to be in. Or the other way around, you can surround a guy and hit him 4 times with only 2 turns. Really good, really deep stuff. Really makes you think about the positioning and how you orient your enemies. Maybe you want to stay in a group so that you can't get surrounded and get double attacked on the same turn, right? And then also mages, when they cast spells, some of them have an area of effect, and there is no friendly fire in this game, right? So I know some of you Final Fantasy tactics out there, you know what I'm saying, you're like, oh man, I'm gonna hit my own guy with this fire spell because he's standing in the square that I need him to be. Not a thing here. Cast away, blow away only your enemies, and your allies will be scot-free. They will not get hit by the attack. But as you can tell, just from that little part about me talking about the combat, there are many deep mechanics when it comes to combat that I will not delve into here. But you'll get a grasp of it, and all of it is taught to you at a reasonable time and a reasonable place, and you'll be picking up and mastering this combat system in no time. Okay. Let's talk about the soundtrack. Soundtrack is incredible, and it's kind of dynamic actually. So depending on how you're doing in a battle, you'll get a track change, right? So if you're doing really well, you know, there may be only one enemy left on the field and the objective is to decimate the enemy, then the track will change up to something like uplifting, like, oh yeah, okay, we see you doing good, you doing it, yeah, go ahead, claim your victory, king, whatever. But also the reverse can be true. Like I said, a lot of the time I was playing this game, I was getting bopped because I knew I was going to run it back with the EXP keep, you feel me, that we already talked about. But yeah, so let's say, you know, you're getting bopped, your people are dying, there's only very little people left. The music will change to sort of a somber, like, oh my god, it's a dire situation, how are you gonna get out of this, oh no, you know. So there's that. Like that's a really cool thing that I haven't really experienced in a lot of other titles, is that the music really adapts to, you know, what's going on in the game really well as you play it. Awesome. And then, you know, just the tracks in general, they're good. They're not quite as memorable or as banging as Octopath Traveler, which is the other HD 2D title that has been released on Switch so far. But I have no complaints when it comes to the music. All of the music really suits what's going on the field or what's going on in the cutscenes. You know, if you got a character maybe doing some you know, side eye worthy stuff, you know, they're playing a track that's kind of showing you the character's cunning. Or if you're watching a scene play out where someone's being super heroic, you know, you're gonna get the Avengers type like, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna get the good tracks coming through. So yeah, all of the tracks really fit the mold and do their job well. So yeah, that's enough about the soundtrack. I mean, I've been talking about this game for 19 minutes already, and as you can see, I love this title so much, I could spend all day telling you how good Triangle Strategy is and how much I enjoyed it, but I won't do that. This video's already long enough. So yeah, go out there, give Triangle Strategy a try. Maybe if you want to wait for a sale, go for it. But I highly encourage you to pick this title up, get your big brain on, and, you know, really branch out as a gamer, right? I mean, I'm mainly a Monster Hunter channel, but I wholeheartedly encourage you guys to pick up other types of games. I mean, you guys need to play all other types of games because it helps you become a better gamer overall. You know what I mean? So yes, go out there, go give Triangle Strategy a try. Comment down below if you do pick it up, or if you are planning on picking it up, or if you've already played it. Tell me what you think about the game, man. Tell me what you think. I will respond to each and every comment that hits this video. Don't forget to subscribe and like on the way out, especially if you like Monster Hunter. But you know, as you can see, I play other games and I will talk about them every now and then. So yes, do subscribe down below. Yeah, as always, happy hunting. Peace.